You're sitting there at 35, maybe 40, maybe even 45, looking at the dating landscape and thinking, what the hell am I supposed to do now? The young women seem immature. The women your age come with more baggage than an airport terminal, and everyone's either divorced, has kids, or has issues that make you wonder if staying single isn't the smartest move. I get it. I've counselled hundreds of men in exactly your position. Let me tell you what nobody else will about choosing a partner after 35, and more importantly, whether you should even bother. The first thing you need to understand is that the game has completely changed from when you were 25. Back then, you were all potential, all future, all possibility. Now, you are what you are. Your personality is set, your habits are formed, your patterns are established. And here's the kicker, so are hers. Whatever woman you're considering, she's not changing. That difficult personality, that's permanent. Those red flags, they're not going away. After 35, you're not dating potential, you're dating reality. Before we even talk about what kind of woman is right for you, we need to talk about you. And I mean really look at yourself, not the fantasy version in your head. Are you the same man you were at 25, just with less hair and more belly? Or have you actually evolved? Because if you're still operating on the same software from your 20s but expecting different results, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Let's start with the physical reality check. Look in the mirror, not the quick glance while you brush your teeth, but really look. What's your energy level like? Can you still stay up past midnight without feeling like death the next day? How's your fitness? Because here's the truth. Your physical condition determines a huge part of your dating options. A fit 40-year-old man has completely different choices than an out-of-shape one. It's not shallow, it's reality. I had a client, 42 years old, convinced he deserved a hot 28-year-old. The man hadn't seen the inside of a gym in a decade, dressed like he shopped at Costco exclusively, and had the energy of a sloth. But in his mind, his maturity and life experience should be enough. Brother, life experience doesn't make up for looking like you gave up on life. Young women who date older men aren't doing it for your wisdom. They're doing it because you've maintained yourself and have resources. Now let's talk about the financial factor, because after 35 this matters more than ever. Not because all women are gold diggers, but because your financial status literally determines which game you're playing. Are you financially struggling? Then you're looking for a partner, someone to split bills with. Are you wealthy? Then you're looking at a completely different set of dynamics and risks. Are you somewhere in the middle? That's its own category with its own rules. The financially struggling man over 35 has limited options, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're probably looking at single mothers, divorced women with their own financial problems, or women with issues that have kept them single. This isn't judgment, it's market reality. You might find a diamond in the rough, but you need to be realistic about probabilities. Then there's the bitter about money guy, usually divorced, lost half his assets, now sees every woman as a potential gold digger. This man repels quality women because his bitterness is toxic. He'll attract only desperate women or those who see him as a challenge to break. His paranoia becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The "love me for who I am" guy who happens to be broke is living in a fantasy. After 35, who you are includes what you've accomplished. A woman looking at you is seeing your entire life's results. If those results are, "I live in my mum's basement, but I'm a really nice guy," that's not compelling. Being nice is the minimum, not a selling point. Now, if you're financially successful, you have different problems. You'll attract women interested in your resources, obviously. The key is determining who's interested in you as a complete package versus who sees you as an ATM with a pulse. This requires a level of discernment that many successful men lack because they're used to solving problems with money. Here's where self-reflection becomes critical. Why do you want a relationship? Really think about this. Is it love? Is it ego? Is it because you're tired of being alone? Is it social pressure? Because your motivation determines what you'll tolerate. If you're just lonely, you'll accept terrible treatment. If it's ego, you'll choose based on looks alone. If it's genuine companionship you want, you'll need to be much more selective. Let me tell you about the manipulation dynamics you need to watch for. There's a specific type of woman who targets men over 35, especially those who've been hurt before. She presents herself as different, understanding, nurturing. She'll listen to your divorce story with sympathy, validate your pain, make you feel understood. But watch what happens once she's secured your commitment. The understanding disappears, the demands begin, and suddenly you're in another trap. The rescuer complex is huge with men our age. You meet a woman with problems, financial, emotional, whatever, and something in you wants to fix it. Maybe it's ego, maybe it's genuine care, maybe it's programming from your past. But here's what happens. You rescue her, she resents you for it. Why? Because being rescued means being inferior, and nobody wants to feel inferior to their partner. You become the parent, she becomes the child, and sexual attraction dies. I counselled a 38-year-old guy who rescued a single mother from poverty. Moved her in, paid off her debts, private school for her kids. Within 2 years, she was treating him with complete contempt. Why? Because every nice thing he did reminded her that she couldn't do it herself. His generosity became her shame, and she punished him for it. This pattern is so common it's basically a law of nature. The weak partner archetype is something you must avoid becoming. This is the man who's so grateful for female attention that he'll tolerate anything. Disrespect, manipulation, dead bedroom, emotional abuse. He takes it all because he's terrified of being alone again. Women can sense this desperation from miles away, and the ones who choose you because of it are the ones who'll destroy you. Here's a hard truth. Emotionally submissive men repel women over time, even the women who chose them for being submissive. It's a paradox. She picked you because she could control you, but she hates you because she can control you. She wants to dominate but resents you for being dominatable. You can't win this game, so don't play it. So what about strategic selection? If you're over 35 and you've got your physical health and finances in order, you have options, but you need to be strategic, not emotional. A younger woman? Possible if you can genuinely offer value beyond just money. A woman your age? Sure, if she's maintained herself and doesn't carry massive emotional damage. Single mother? Maybe if her kids are older and she's genuinely independent. The key is realistic self-assessment. If you're a 6 out of 10 in overall market value, stop chasing 9s and wondering why you keep getting used. If you're an 8, don't settle for a 5 just because you're afraid of being alone. Match your market value, maybe reach up slightly, but be realistic. Delusion leads to disaster. Red flags you must watch for. Any woman who talks about her ex constantly, whether positively or negatively. Any woman who has no female friends. Any woman in certain professions. Life coaches, influencers, OF models. Anyone whose job is essentially monetizing attention. Any woman who tests your boundaries early and often. Any woman who makes you feel bad about yourself regularly. The speech patterns tell you everything. Does she talk about what she deserves or what she contributes? Does she frame herself as a victim or as someone who takes responsibility? Does she see relationships as partnerships or as situations where she should be catered to? Listen to how she talks about other people, especially other men. That's how she'll talk about you eventually. I had a client ignore every red flag because the sex was incredible. She was a 35-year-old entrepreneur, translation failed at multiple businesses, talked constantly about manifesting abundance, had dramatic relationships with everyone in her life, but the sex was fire, so he overlooked it all. 2 years later, she drained his savings for her ventures, cheated with her business partner, and convinced him it was his fault for not supporting her dreams enough. The ideal relationship criteria for a man over 35 should be non-negotiable. First, she improves your peace, not disrupts it. If your life is more chaotic with her than without her, she's not the right woman. Second, she's financially and emotionally independent, not necessarily wealthy, but not looking for a savior. Third, there's mutual contribution. You're both making each other's lives better in tangible ways. Here's what mutual contribution looks like. You provide security, she provides peace. You handle the major finances, she makes the home a sanctuary. You bring structure, she brings warmth. It's not about keeping score, it's about both people adding value. If you're the only one contributing while she's just consuming, that's not a relationship, it's parasitism. The absence of manipulation is critical. A quality woman doesn't need to manipulate because she can communicate directly. She doesn't use sex as a weapon, tears as tools, or emotions as leverage. She states her needs clearly and respects your boundaries. If you find yourself constantly confused about what she wants or walking on eggshells, that's manipulation, not complexity. Let's talk about the single mother factor, because after 35 you'll encounter many. Not all single mothers are bad options, but you need to understand what you're signing up for. You'll never be her first priority, her kids are. You'll be dealing with her ex forever. You'll be expected to provide but have no real authority. If you're okay with this, proceed. If not, don't pretend you are. The divorced woman category requires careful analysis. Why did her marriage end? Does she take any responsibility? Or is it all his fault? How long has she been divorced? Has she done any work on herself? Or did she just jump back into dating? A woman who's been divorced for 6 months is very different from one who's been divorced for 3 years and done therapy. Age gaps need to be discussed realistically. Can a 40-year-old man date a 25-year-old woman? Sure, if he's exceptional in some way, extremely fit, very successful, unusually charismatic. But if you're an average 40-year-old trying to date women 15 years younger, you're either going to get used or rejected. Be realistic about what you bring to the table. The professional consideration matters more than you think. A woman with a real career has her own identity, her own money, her own purpose. She's not looking for you to complete her life. Compare this to a woman who's been floating between retail jobs or MLMS, looking for a man to provide stability. The career woman might be harder to schedule dates with, but she's less likely to become dependent. Here's something crucial. Pay attention to her relationship with her father. If she hates him, has no contact, or describes him as terrible, without any self-reflection on how that affected her, run. Women who hate their fathers typically have major issues with men in general. They're seeking from you what they didn't get from him, but also punishing you for his failures. It's a no-win situation. The body count conversation is uncomfortable but necessary. After 35, everyone has a past. But there's a difference between a woman who's had several meaningful relationships and one who's been with dozens of men. Pair bonding ability decreases with each partner. If she's been with 50 men, the chances of you being special number 51 are basically zero. Let's discuss the possibility of choosing solitude. This isn't giving up, it's choosing peace over chaos. If the available options would decrease your quality of life, staying single is the smart move. A bad relationship is infinitely worse than no relationship. Loneliness is uncomfortable. Being with someone who makes you miserable is destructive. I know men who chose solitude after 35 and thrived. They travel when they want, pursue their interests without negotiation, keep their peace and their money. Are they sometimes lonely? Sure. But they're not being manipulated, drained or destroyed. They've chosen autonomy over imprisonment. The biological clock pressure affects men differently than women, but it still exists. If you want biological children, you need to factor this into your selection. A 38-year-old woman might only have a few years of fertility left. A 28-year-old gives you more time but might not be ready for children when you are. These are real considerations that romantic feelings won't resolve. The energy question becomes huge after 35. Do you have the energy for drama? For someone else's emotional roller coaster? For constantly managing another person's feelings? If not, you need a low-maintenance partner, and these are increasingly rare. Most people accumulate damage and dysfunction with age, not wisdom and peace. Here's my practical advice for finding the right woman after 35. First, get yourself in order. Physical fitness, financial stability, emotional maturity. You can't attract quality if you're not quality yourself. Second, be clear about what you want. Not a fantasy list, but real priorities. Would you rather have beauty or peace? Youth or maturity? Excitement or stability? Third, date with intention. You're not 22 anymore, playing the field to see what happens. Time is limited. If someone shows red flags early, don't waste months hoping they'll change. They won't. If someone isn't adding value to your life within 3 months, they never will. Fourth, maintain your boundaries like your life depends on it, because it does. The moment you compromise your standards for companionship is the moment you've lost. It's better to be alone than to be with someone who diminishes you. Your self-respect is not negotiable. Fifth, understand that the modern dating market is broken, especially after 35. Social media, dating apps, and cultural shifts have created unrealistic expectations on all sides. You're not looking for perfection, you're looking for someone whose imperfections you can live with and who can live with yours. The social pressure factor needs to be addressed. Everyone asks why you're single, when you're getting married, why you don't have kids. This pressure makes people make terrible decisions. Understand that these people won't be living with your choice. You will. Their opinions are irrelevant if they're not living your life. Let me tell you about different female archetypes you'll encounter after 35. The forever teenager who never grew up, still partying like she's 22, can't understand why life hasn't worked out. The boss babe who's so focused on competing with men she's forgotten how to relate to them. The spiritual seeker who uses astrology and crystals to avoid reality. The bitter divorcee who sees all men through the lens of her ex-husband's failures. Then there's the professional victim who has a sob story for every occasion and needs constant saving. The social media addict whose entire identity is online validation. The princess who thinks she deserves luxury just for existing. Each archetype comes with specific problems you need to recognize and avoid, but there are also quality women out there. The stable professional who has her life together and wants a partner, not a provider. The growth-minded woman who's done the work on herself and continues growing. The family-oriented woman who values connection over status. The genuine person who says what she means and means what she says. The testing phase is crucial. Every woman will test you, but pay attention to how. Quality women test to see if you're genuine and stable. Toxic women test to see if they can control you. The first type stops testing once you've proven yourself. The second type never stops because the testing is about power, not security. Sexual compatibility matters more than people admit. After 35, you're not going to fundamentally change your preferences, and neither is she. If there's a major mismatch in libido, interests, or attraction, it won't improve with time. It'll become a source of resentment and conflict. Be honest about this early. The lifestyle compatibility is equally important. Are you a homebody or an adventurer, early riser or night owl, social butterfly or introvert? These seem like small things, but after 35, changing these patterns is nearly impossible. Find someone whose natural rhythm matches yours, not someone you'll have to constantly negotiate with. The family situation needs careful consideration. Her kids, your kids, potential future kids, extended family dynamics. If she's close to her family and you're not to yours, or vice versa, this will cause conflict. If her kids hate you, or your kids hate her, that won't magically improve. Be realistic about what you can handle. The X factor is huge after 35. Everyone has exes, but how they're handled matters. Is her ex still in her life? Why? Is it necessity kids or choice can't let go? Does she compare you to him? Is she truly over him? A woman who isn't fully divorced emotionally, not just legally, will bring that baggage into your relationship. Financial compatibility isn't just about who has money, it's about attitudes toward money. Is she a spender or saver? Does she expect you to maintain her lifestyle? Can she distinguish between wants and needs? Financial stress destroys more relationships than infidelity. Make sure your money philosophies align. The health factor becomes critical after 35. Is she taking care of herself, or letting herself go? Does she have healthy habits, or is she slowly self-destructing? You can't save someone from their own bad choices. If she doesn't value her health now, it'll only get worse, and you'll be dealing with the consequences. Here's the ultimate test. Does being with her make you a better or worse version of yourself? Do you feel energized or drained after spending time with her? Are you growing or shrinking? Are you more confident or more anxious? The right woman amplifies your strengths. The wrong one amplifies your weaknesses. The commitment question needs to be addressed. After 35, you're either looking for a life partner or you're not. Be honest about this. If you just want casual relationships, own it. If you want marriage, be clear. Don't waste her time or yours pretending to want something you don't. The modern marriage contract is something you need to understand before committing. It's not the same deal your parents had. The legal system, social expectations, and financial implications have all changed. Know what you're signing up for. Consider a prenup. Protect yourself while hoping for the best. The biological realities can't be ignored. If she's over 35 and wants kids, fertility issues are likely. Are you prepared for IVF, adoption, or childlessness? If she already has kids, are you ready to be a stepfather with all its limitations? These aren't romantic considerations, but there are real ones. Location matters more than you think. Where you live determines your dating pool. A small town has different options than a major city. Conservative areas have different women than liberal ones. If your location isn't giving you options, you might need to relocate or adjust expectations. The social circle consideration is important. Who are her friends? What influence do they have? A woman with toxic friends will eventually become toxic herself. A woman with quality friends likely has quality herself. You're not just dating her, you're dating her entire social ecosystem. The personal growth factor separates quality women from the rest. Is she still learning, growing, evolving? Or did she peak in high school and has been coasting since? A woman who's curious about life, eager to improve, willing to admit mistakes. That's someone who can be a life partner. The communication style will determine your relationship's success or failure. Can she disagree without being disagreeable? Can she express needs without demands? Can she listen without just waiting for her turn to talk? Communication is the foundation everything else builds on. Here's what it comes down to. After 35, you need a woman who adds value to your already complete life. You're not looking for someone to fix you, complete you, or save you. You're looking for someone whose company you prefer to solitude. If you can't find that, solitude is the better choice. The abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset matters enormously. If you're choosing someone because you're afraid of being alone, you'll choose poorly. If you're choosing someone because they genuinely enhance your life, you'll choose well. Never let fear drive your decisions. The respect factor is non-negotiable. She must respect you, your time, your work, your interests, your boundaries. Without respect, love is meaningless. A woman who loves you but doesn't respect you will destroy you slowly. Choose respect over passion every time. The practical matters can't be overlooked. Where will you live? How will expenses be shared? What about household duties? These unsexy conversations reveal more about compatibility than grand romantic gestures. If you can't agree on practical matters, the relationship is doomed. The intuition factor is real. Your gut knows things your brain hasn't figured out yet. If something feels off, even if you can't articulate why, pay attention. After 35, you've had enough experience to trust your instincts. Don't override them for loneliness or lust. Remember this: the right woman for you after 35 is one who has also done the work on herself. She's processed her past, knows what she wants, brings value to the table, and isn't looking for you to be her everything. She's a whole person looking for another whole person to share life with. If you can't find her, that's okay. Being single and at peace is infinitely better than being coupled and in chaos. Your worth isn't determined by your relationship status. You've made it this far on your own. You can continue if necessary. The bottom line is this: after 35, you know too much to pretend. You've seen too much to be naive. You've experienced too much to settle for bullshit. Use that wisdom. Be selective. Be patient. Be willing to walk away. The right woman will add to your life without subtracting from your soul. I want to hear from you guys. What challenges are you facing in dating after 35? What patterns have you noticed? What lessons have you learned? Drop your experiences in the comments. Let's create a real discussion about what actually works, not what we wish worked. Your story might help another man avoid a disaster or find the right partner.